peaceful election, we still have other stakeholders. We have the political class whose politics might be do or die. We also have the security agents. We have the electorate, and then the ad hoc staff. So I think that is extremely important that the lives of this ad hoc staff should be guaranteed. And I want us to criminalize electoral violence in Nigeria.
Okay, we'll come to the issue of criminalizing electoral violence. Dr. Mr. Orebi, Dr. Ndumaki has talked about other stakeholders joining hands. A large number of security personnel were deployed, 6,000 policemen, several, the military was there, paramilitary and other security agencies. And where do you think things went wrong? It's like a recurring decimal.
Well, I wasn't on the scene. I'm a former resident electoral commissioner, so I really will not be able to speak as a living participant at the event on Saturday. But be that as it may, one is quite familiar with what normally obtains on election day. And just as Dr. Ndumaki said, we work closely with all stakeholders. There's a committee in place which is responsible for security. The resident electoral commissioner is only a joint chairman of that committee. The commissioner of police in each of the states is also a joint chairman. And then all the security agencies are adequately represented on it. There we do identify points of violence. We also map out how we should tackle this. But then, the usual reoccurring problem is the fact that the way we practice politics in these parts, it's you don't find it in any other place on the face of the earth today. And that's a key problem. Until you're able to look at the issue of electoral violence, the level of desperation which will push people out to want to obtain or attain power by all means, I think that's where we really need to tackle the issue. No matter what INEC may do, what the security agencies want to do, so long as it's not only INEC that will go there to vote, not only the security agencies, you have electorate, you also have the political parties mobilizing their people. And then the proliferation of arms, weapons these days is also a key problem. It's more, not just a political problem, it's also a social problem that I believe virtually every single stakeholder should come in and do something about it. But it is regrettable that we lost another human being, and especially a member of the National Youth Service Corps, a serving one for that matter.
All right, let's bring you into the conversation, Mr. Abdullahi in Abuja. Well, it seems as if those who perpetrate violence during elections in Nigeria, for them it's business as usual. You know, there's no fear of what lies if they are actually apprehended by the security agencies. What has been the setback to criminalizing electoral offenders, those who perpetrate electoral violence, and what can be done to rectify the situation?
Thank you, Emana. I kind of agree with the views of Dr. Ndumaki and Mr. Aribe so far, what they have said about the reasons for this violence in election. There is desperation in politics today in the country, and where leaders they don't practice politics of maturity. They incite and call for violence before the elections. These utterances are really capable of hitting polity, and we know the kind of where we're coming from in this country from the past general election to now, what almost led to the situation of disintegrating people in this country. So we ought to guard about our utterances, especially when we're in positions of leadership, either you are a governor or any other position you're holding. You may have immunity today, but you will leave that seat tomorrow. And when you leave that seat, you know, prosecution, investigation and prosecution can commence on you, you know, with such unguarded utterances that leads to violence. Now, back to your question about what actually led to or the delay in criminalization of electoral offenses is simply lack of political will from the past governments. But there are still some offenses, some actions that have constituted offenses in our laws. So sometimes it's not the absence of the law, but rather the implementation, the enforcement of those laws. Our laws are, I think, sufficient enough for us of now to even actually get some of the actors involved in this incitement of violence or the actual commission of this violence to book, to order. But, you know, with this government, there is a promise made by the president. President Muhammad Buhari has promised, I think in one of the interview, that he will go a step further, not in actually reforming the electoral processes, but also holding the electoral offenders responsible. They should answer to their crimes. When we begin to see the actual people that commit these crimes answering their crimes, then maybe we'll see a change in the so much heat in the polity, and also the kind of desperation we see among our politicians. So we really need to act. The state, the government has to act, bring to books anybody who is responsible, no matter how highly or mighty you are. If you have immunity today, when your immunity is over, bring that person to book.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abdullahi. Well, let me quickly ask you, Mr. Rebi, some of the core members seem to have grown cold feet. For instance, the issue of the FCT rerun elections that have been shifted to April the 9th on the grounds that INEC could not get enough ad hoc staff. Would you say INEC is in trouble with getting enough people to help conduct the elections?
It shouldn't be seen as if INEC is in trouble. Again, I don't have all the details, but it is quite possible that the number so required may not have been available in the FCT. You know, when NYC deploys, it deploys according to its own needs. But INEC too will require according to its own needs for any election.
So the core members are taken as based on the
availability, yes,
in a particular locality.
So maybe the postponement will have been due to the fact that they needed more time to be able to reach out to NYC officials, members in other states, neighboring states. So I'm sure by April 9, there will be more than enough to conduct the election.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Orebi. Well, we go on a short break, and when we return, we find out the causes of electoral violence and how to stop the increasing incidents. We'll be right back.
I had a meeting with the DIG on the 16th of this month. That was Wednesday, and in that meeting there were leaders of political parties, and we told the leaders of political parties not to intimidate, to attack, or offer any form of violence to the core members. We let them know that the core members are only carrying out the national duty. They are not the contestants. They are not addicts. They don't collect results. But they are only carrying out their own national assignment as given by government. We also let them know that core members are politically neutral. They don't have any political inclinations. And they represent the most enlightened segment of the Nigerian youth. But we also, apart from the fact that we sensitize them, we also give them this handbook, which contains every information about the election security tips. It also contains phone numbers of security agencies and our distress force.